What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer.
I became involved in making quilts for the church some years ago when Linda Hart was coordinating the service. She needed people to make prayer quilts, and I loved to quilt, so it was a good thing.
So how does your service build your faith?
I think it made me more aware of people in need of prayer. Our prayer quilts are, I would say, blessed by the people in our congregation as they pass by and perhaps tie a knot in the quilt. They say a prayer, and that prayer goes for the person who's in crisis, is ill, is recovering. It doesn't matter, but that person needs prayer. And when you have a congregation behind that program saying prayers for that person, it's very meaningful.
So give me a little more background about the quilts. So how does a person, how do you decide who gets a quilt?
I don't decide. The church decides that. They decide prior to the baptism, and then also that's kind of coordinated through Cheryl Papke, has been for some years. So all I do is do something I love at home, and I bring it up to the church, and then they take over. The prayer quilts for those who are in need is coordinated through the church also. At this time, probably through Pat Hammond and Nathan. I just am home making the quilt, and then I bring it up and they take care of the rest.
You just do the creative part.
Yeah, I get the fun part.
Right. Oh, so where do you see or feel God at work in your service?
I feel blessed right now. Jerry and I both participated in a lot of church activities over the years, but now we're a little limited. And so we're at home, and I have a bedroom converted into a sewing room, and I try to use up the fabric I have, and I try and make something from it. For you who don't know about quilting, it's kind of therapy, because we take a piece of fabric, we cut it apart, then we put it back together again. But it's a fun thing to do, and it takes a lot of hours, so it is dedication, and I feel like God has allowed me to participate in that.
Would you show and share some of your quilts?
This is an example of applique. This is wool applique, so these fabrics are wool on flannel, and this is all done by hand. So the piecing is done by machine, but the applique is done by hand. And then this one is a blanket of roses, and it has raw edges. It's just a different form of quilting. There are many forms, and that's what keeps it interesting. And of course the fabrics are unlimited, and so you can make a color scheme that is kind of muted, or you can have contrast, such as in the applique, and so it's just fun.
So how can our congregation encourage and support your service?
They already are, by providing the encouragement and the avenue to get the quilt to the person who needs it, and always saying thank you. Nice, I get to do it at home, and that's being supportive by the church. And Linda and Cheryl and people in Peaceworks, sometimes I go in there and use their cutting table. It saves on your back. And so I feel a lot of support from the church.
So is there anyone else you wanted to mention that has been a part of this service?
Carlene Abbar has made children's quilts for baptism. Shirley Olson has done some, I believe. There are other quilters in our church. I'm just a small part of it. And women like to quilt, but it's not limited to women. And if you have anything you can do at home, a skill, a craft, an art, go ahead, because people will appreciate what you offer.
Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. All because we do